Good evening, you're watching NewsX and it is 6 p.m. which means it is time to talk to our entrepreneurs. Yes, it is the Business World and NewsX initiative where we go ahead and speak to a number of startups in various fields, in various segments in the industry. And let's not waste too much time and dive straight into all the guests that are joining me on the broadcast at this point of time. Shreyans Gandhi, who is the Executive Director at Gazda Jewels and Work so far, joins me on the broadcast. Grivit David, who is the founder and Habanro Foods, joins on the broadcast as well. Divya Lal, who is the founder and Managing Director, FlipLearn Education Private Limited, on the broadcast as well. Welcome on the show, ma'am. Mr. Anil Kejriwal, who is the Global Chairperson for i2Cure, also joins me on the broadcast. So does Jay Sohani, who is the founder, Janus Concepts, is on the broadcast with us. And of course, Dr. Anurag Batra, Editor-in-Chief, Business World, joining me on the broadcast, who has gone ahead and painstakingly collated and brought about this entire panel. But Dr. Batra, what's the discussion today going to be all about?
Thank you, Megha, for introducing all the panelists. We're going to talk about business and economy as we do at this appointment hour every evening. And as the last 8 months have shown, livelihoods are intertwined. Yes, it's a healthcare crisis, but because of the nature of the crisis, it has also created a livelihood crisis in certain sectors and impacting individuals. We have entrepreneurs and leaders on this broadcast today who in their own way are making a difference to the livelihoods of their own immediate family and to the families of many other people who work with them. Let me start with Mr. Kejriwal. Mr. Kejriwal, tell us, in the last 8 months, how have you been able to pivot around the idea you had, and especially the last 8 months have been challenging, but they've also provided unique opportunities to build unique businesses. So give us a sense of what's been keeping you busy over the last 8 months.
Hi, Anurag. I live in Singapore, but I came to India for Holi and have been stuck ever since. And I've created a new venture with some scientists out of the US, which is protection for corona, which is very, very powerful medicine based out of molecular iodine. And during lockdown at home, I've created this whole venture which hopes to become a $10 billion business in the next 2 years. We have orders from 32 countries in the world. So the molecular iodine is being made in a lab in Virginia. I bought 50% of the company. And we are manufacturing final packing, and manufacturing is being done in a plant in Haridwar, and we are shipping to 32 countries. We have huge orders. i2Cure is iodine cure, and this product protects you 100% against corona. You don't just, it's not a hand sanitizer kind of thing. You don't apply to your hand alone. You block your you put it in your nostrils to block your sinus, put it in your lips to block your mouth. And so iodine molecules go inside your skin and protect you for next 12 hours because the iodine vapor keeps coming out. And all major American labs have proven that this is the future product of the country, vaccine or no vaccine. We are already protecting people all over the world. So,
Mr. Kejriwal, clearly, while it is a profit-oriented venture, it clearly has an impact which goes beyond profit. Give us a sense of how did you come together with the founders, and how do you think it is going to do vis-a-vis the vaccine, which is so anticipated and so to say needed. This is more preventive like the vaccine. And tell us, what is the price points of this protection, so to say, and do we see it happening in India soon? Do we see it being available in India soon?
It is already launched in India. It's on Amazon, and it has its own portal called i2cureshop.com, and it's selling very well. It's already come to market. We have limited supply for India right now, but we don't, because Vaccine, I don't know how many people will trust a vaccine which is just being test marketed. Normal vaccine results have been checked for the 5 years. And here you're not taking in anything. It's a external protection, works 100%. US FDA is approving it. Russian labs have approved it. We have certification from over 20 countries confirming that it works. It works for 12 hours. And the price, vaccine price point, I don't know whether poor man can afford. We have created one day, full day use sachet, which will sell for about 6 or 7 rupees. So you are protected for the whole day.
It's something that helps the bottom of the pyramid and makes it affordable for everyone.
Yeah, this is absolutely for the poor man. Absolutely for the poor man. In fact, I'm using the whole team.
I'll come back to you, and my congratulations to you on creating this. Let me go to Divya. Divya, we're speaking after a long time. Since then, EduTech has become a way of life. You know, homes have become classrooms, and children have adapted to learning using digital screens. Tell us, as we go into 2021, what are the major changes you see in the educational ecosystem now that we know that remote learning is a way of life?
I think, Anurag, this is actually a very special time for India as we can redefine what is the academic calendar of the country. You know, historically, for years and years, it has always been 180 days or 210 days. But today, now with all this digital model, online learning, blended learning coming ahead, I think more and more people are looking at that you no longer need to stop learning just because there's a cold wave or a heat wave or there is, some kind of disruption when the schools close down. So there is one definitely redefining of the academic calendar itself on, how many days can we really engage into an academic or a, collaborative learning experience, whether it is schools. Second big thing I think we're going to see from an economic point of view is I think the budgeting of every household in this country and the budgeting of every educational institution is going to change. I think now being online ready and maybe a low-cost device or bandwidth or some of these things will become a part of every household of this country, which were no longer, if you look at the start of this year, may not be something every parent would budget, but I can assure you next year, this is a part of every household in the country who's going to budget for how their children will learn online and how they should be ready from that point of view.
Thank you, Divya. We'll come back to you as an entrepreneur. You continue to reinvent and in some way pivot and orbit change. Jay, you're in an industry which is dependent on how the industry does. As an agency, the clients that you advise and guide went on a pause for the first 6 months or at least for the first 5 months. Of course, October, November has seen a lot of advertising and brand building activity because of Diwali, because of IPL, and because of the wedding season. Tell us, how are your clients doing and what is the pivot you've taken in your business to be able to be more relevant to what your clients want you to do?
Thanks, Anurag. So what I will say is that first 6 months were nightmarish for all of us. And the business was completely down, clients were suffering. And we were also we lost track and we had no solutions to them. That's when we realized that we have to become a solution provider to their problems. That's when the real change started happening across all digital agencies. Right now, if I tell you, so earlier it was about getting the business, delivering that business, and that's about it. Right now, we are getting into a partnership mode with them, where we are looking into their customer and their customer experiences. And that's where the technology is also coming into play. So earlier, VR, AR were just the words that you used to coin around, but now this has become a reality. From EduTech, what Divya just said, it's all about experiences through virtual devices. Now we have a client which is an NGO, which is into this business of distributing mobile phones only to their kids across the government schools. All the clients are happy to look into digital, but yes, digital has to find solutions to their problems. That's how we see it.
Yes, so we've moved from content marketing to commerce. We've moved from digital advertising to digital transformation and digital driving business. Let me bring in Shreyans Gandhi. Shreyans, you're a traditional business. You're in the jewelry retailing business. You're an 80-year-old plus business. You have all the 3 generations, your grandfather, father, and you in the business. Tell us, what are you, omni-channel retailing has become the order of the day, where it's physical retail plus online. Tell us, what are you doing to reinvent a business that your grandfather started?
Yeah, I mean, hi Anurag, that's an absolutely fantastic point. Today the traditional forms of doing business have completely changed, and COVID has definitely taught us that. In terms of reinventing, we've introduced a lot of technologies in our business. When it comes to our manufacturing goods, we've introduced lots of softwares which makes it less of labor intensive and more of using machinery, technology and machinery, which makes the process much more smoother and faster. So we've introduced a lot of ways to make the whole process in a more systematic order. Especially with COVID, we realized that our labor it can be challenging to kind of operationally focus them in the most right way. Which is why we use technology with aid of our labor to make sure that the whole process is smoothened out, and that's what we really introduced. The other thing is that the other thing that we're really seeing is a lot of interactions to a lot of other forms of media. So we've had a lot of interactions to like Instagram and LinkedIn and Facebook, and we really use those to cater to our customers and widen our customer base across the country and the globe.
Yeah, and I hope more and more, jewelry shoppers are using AR, VR to get the, close to real experience when they buy jewelry. Griffith, you heard all of the other panelists. Give us your opening comments and tell us how you pivoted in your business over the last 8 months.
Thank you, Anurag, and appreciate being on this panel. Wonderful to hear everybody's opinions. We are in the food space, and I operate in two sides of that spectrum. One is in the restaurant business, and the other one is in the sauces and condiments side of the business. And we saw very different things happening on both ends of the spectrum. The restaurant business went into shock, right? And we had to shut everything down. We had to kind of conserve resources and try to figure out what was happening there. And but the condiments and sauce business saw an incredible spurt in sales, and we suddenly saw e-commerce that we've been trying to crack for a while really take off. All the retail stores shut. We quickly pivoted and started focusing energies towards e-commerce. And a couple of very interesting opportunities came about. Our value proposition at Habanero Foods, I'm the founder of Habanero. We provide a range of sauces, and our value proposition is import quality at Indian prices. So, we provide a quality and packaging that's as good as any imported brand at a very reasonable Indian pricing because we manufacture locally. And when a lot of these import products got stuck in the ports and couldn't get through customs, customers started discovering brands like ours and realized that these Indian brands were as good as anything that was being imported. So that was a major, shift for us. Consumers discovering Indian local brands that could stand and compete with anything global. And also, being on e-commerce platforms, it's easier for small startups to compete with the big guys and be noticed. So from that perspective, I think, like I said, restaurants are slowly coming out of that shock. 6 months later, customers are slowly starting to come in, whereas the condiment side of the business is really, really taken off. So it's a mixed bag for us.
Thank you so much, Griffith. Cloud kitchens have taken the place of restaurants. Do-it-yourself kits that restaurants are sending to their loyal customers to be able to have some bit of the experience as in some way, at least for the time being, given into the restaurant experience, the dining in experience you would have. Let me go to Mr. Kejriwal. Mr. Kejriwal, you clearly, when you told me a couple of months back you're very busy in something very big, I should have guessed that you are doing something which is literally life-changing. Tell us a bit more about the product and the efficacy of the product. As I said, your product is not a business. It will help transform the lives of many people, hopefully save the lives of many people, and that by itself is very noble. So tell us a bit about how the product came along, how have you tested its efficacy, and I'm very curious to use it, and hopefully in the next 24 hours I'll buy it and try it out.
Yeah, it is absolutely unthinkable. It's like a magic molecular iodine. And it works, it really works. And I've seen my lawyer has 10 people in the family. He was the only one using this, and 9 of them got COVID except him. And I have hundreds of such cases where the person who was using it did not get COVID, everybody else got it. In our own office, out of 30 people, one guy was skeptical about using it. He got COVID. 29 all tested negative. So we have hundreds and thousands of examples from all over the world. So, like you just said, how did it come? So, in the words of my daughter-in-law, she said, if this really becomes a multi-billion-dollar operation, I'm going to tell people that my father-in-law was getting bored with COVID lockdown at home, and he created one more business. So,
knowing you for a while, I don't think your daughter-in-law is very far off from what she said. I know that you like creating businesses, you created businesses in the past, and because I know you, I know that what you say has credibility, and I believe that what you have to offer may actually solve our problem. Let me go back to Divya again. Divya, government schools, which are a large part of the educational ecosystem, and especially we talk of Bharat and rural India, clearly for the first few months they saw lack of devices, they saw lack of connectivity. So rather than EduTech creating a digital democratization, EduTech created a digital divide. How do you think, as we move into Jan 2021 in another 34 days, how do you think the government is more prepared to deal with creating smart classrooms, providing devices, and making sure there is connectivity and education happens? You see a move by state governments to be able to beef up devices and connectivity?
I think for the first time now we are seeing state governments thinking about online learning. I mean, the first few tenders haven't come out yet, Anurag, but the discussions have opened up. People are now realizing that maybe more than smart classrooms, it will be more effective to invest in low-cost devices for the students, because that can ensure that children's continuity to learning happens beyond school hours, despite any of the obstructions that may come in getting the children to the school. So, and it is not fair, I mean, in terms of actually, marrying the two and saying that, well, there is a sect of private schools in the country that got the privilege of online learning and live classes, and we are a country of many shades, and we have to understand and accept for the diversity economically that we have. I think what has been very, very brave on part of the state governments as far as education is concerned is that they did not stop just because there was no bandwidth connectivity issues. You see so many state governments who opened up TV channels because they had almost 70 to 80% reach out and teaching children via the TV channels. We had some very, very proactive state governments that opened up WhatsApp groups. And every day they used to send lessons, teaching lines, because WhatsApp, we know the percolation of mobile in our country, which is extremely high in terms of how it goes to the last mile, and how the data, at least at the level of WhatsApp, has worked. I think adoption of platforms is obviously not something that has happened yet beyond the Diksha and all the government portals that have come in that are being used. What we are seeing is, there is no one solution fit all as far as India is concerned. You will see a variety of solutions that will come in. We are at FlipLearn. We work with various private schools in the country. We are looking at entering government schools and getting. And that's the reason, Anurag, we made the whole platform free, because we said let there be no obstruction in a school actually trying to go online and work through with it. How these children get access, and I think as a country, there are two things that I've always advocated. Right to learning is right to bandwidth. And I think it is time as an infrastructure priority that we should really look at endorsing that. And I think this is also a good time to really push the goods from a point of view of generating demand, and maybe create a special scheme for parents across the country to maybe buy low-cost devices and give them a special concession for learning of our country.
And Divya, one thing I want to ask you, if say in March you were at 100 rupees of billing, and then I'm assuming in spite of you being a leading player, it may have dipped for a while. Where are we at November in terms of that 100?
I think we've grown 3x, 4x, Anurag, even though we made the core platform free because our monetization came through other platforms of helping schools generate and create via our student learning packages that we've.
Okay. Shreya, has there been a drop in people buying jewelry overall in the last 8-9 months, or you cater to a segment who are price insensitive, and especially the last 60 days may have made up for the loss of any business, if at all, over the last 7 months? Give us a sense of that.
In the initial few months of the pandemic, until everything really opened up in the economy, there was barely any interactions with any customers. People weren't really reaching out, or people weren't inquiring much about it. There were very few handful who were actually asking about any kind of inquiries. But I think when in August, when everything opened up, people had that pent up, demand or pent up, anxiousness to buy something. At that point, we really saw a lot of growth in people actually inquiring about products. What we really saw is, from there until now, that people want to spend on something which they know that they have real value for, which they know that they will really enjoy lifelong. So instead of people buying like massive sets or whatever, they'll buy small items which they can use on daily basis, Even right now with the wedding season, now that weddings are much smaller, people always have like a set idea how much budget they want to spend on a wedding. So now they are using that money which they were maybe spent on a honeymoon and destination weddings, they're spending it on jewelry, So I mean,
and gold in the last 1 year has been outstanding. So clearly, it's an asset that they appreciate.
It's a complete winner. There's no doubt that people are always inquiring about gold, and I mean, those are like every weekly calls I get. What's the price of gold? What's the price of gold last week? They're always inquiring. What's the future? I mean, the thing is, with gold is the safest asset today. So people will always keep putting some part of their investment in gold.
Thank you so much, Shreyansh, for being so realistic. Griffith, coming to you and Jay, is where is your business? Let's say your spice business, which was at say 100 rupees in March. Where are you in November? And have you become a direct to consumer, a digital to consumer brand, especially in your spice business? We know the restaurant business, because of supply side restrictions, has issues, not so much on the demand side, but supply side. But to give a sense of where you are in terms of numbers.
Yeah, in the sauce and sauce condiment side of the business, we've grown 4x since the pandemic broke. And like I said earlier, the growth has mostly been in e-commerce. We see retail starting to pick up now. So it's a fundamental transformation, right? People sitting at home, unable to go out, wanting to have their fun foods that they used to have. You can call Swiggy and order from Swiggy and do that for a while, but after a while you feel like cooking some of the stuff.
And the do-it-yourself economy, people are becoming home chefs.
Exactly.
We have more time. Cooking is cathartic, as we know, right?
Very, very cathartic. Absolutely.
So clearly, there is a health benefit, and there is the joy of cooking for your family. And people have more time, so they're doing it. So clearly, when you say you've grown at 4x, it was grown at 3x. Shreyansh has done well. Mr. Kejriwal has built a multiple billion-dollar business opportunity, which also has a social impact, huge social impact. Jay, how's the advertising agency business doing? Is it doing as well? Because you're a reflection of how your clients are doing.
I'm sorry, Jay, before you answer that question, and we'll delve deeper into how the food industry has been trying to recoup its losses in the past few months because of the pandemic. I will have to take a very short break. We'll come back after this commercial, and don't go anywhere. All right, welcome back. So we are back on the broadcast. Segment 1, we had an introduction from all our guests, entrepreneurs who are actually going ahead and doing constructive during these times, the pandemic, and fighting out for their causes. And back to Jay Sogani, founder Janus Concepts. So how's it working out? As Anurag had pointed out, how are you going ahead and coping up with the things?
So thank you. To answer this, what I would say is that advertising is multi-platform, and from outdoor to print to television to radio to digital. Now, all of these platforms started suffering as soon as the lockdown started. And one by one, they started picking up. And since on digital, we can factor in the last penny as well. We can count every single money, where it is going, how it is affecting. And clients are paying understanding to it that they have to have every single penny count. And that's why the money is flowing towards digital side of the business. And from outdoor to everybody, their money is very less getting invested there. It's coming to digital. My business would have gone up by 2x at least in last 6 months to 7 months. And at Janus, we are really finding this challenge, and we have to start saying no to the clients to take up certain projects, except for the new old clients.
Okay, all right. So that's the digital space. We are also talking about social media tools that are in provision to go ahead and escalate your businesses, but during the time of pandemic. But my question, I keep coming back to Mr. Anil Kejriwal over here, like Anurag Batra, because what you've gone ahead and created, sir, manufacturing in large scale is something quite extraordinary. But I think people need to know more and more about it, especially in wake of the kind of effectiveness that your hand sanitizer has. So if you could tell me, how exactly did you first of all ideate it? How much time did it take for you to create it at the first place, and then obviously manufacturing it and then marketing it and putting it across for distribution as well?
Mr. Kejriwal, we are here.
Mr. Kejriwal, if you can hear me, you'll have to unmute yourself. Yes.
And the one in Gurgaon, that's you. Mr. Kejriwal, you'll have to unmute yourself. That's how you'll unmute the economy and hopefully mute the COVID.
Yeah, hi. So this is an operation of Mr. Modi's dream, Make in India for the World.
Absolutely, yes.
This is this whole operation started. I had done a teleradiology company which brings data. Medical data from the US, we read them in India and send back. So my team in the US told me about this Dr. Jack Tesla, who's father of iodine chemistry in the world, and who's done a lot of work for defense and others on iodine chemistry for last 2 to 3 decades. And he talked to me and said that, look, iodine is known as the best antiseptic for hundreds of years.
Absolutely,
every
yes.
surgery, every dental operation, everywhere, iodine is the main antiseptic. It's non-synthetic, made from seaweeds in Japan. It's a natural product. But the very interesting thing he told me, like betadine and other, the effective part of iodine is the iodine, molecular iodine, that is the I2, which is a gaseous form, which is not stable in aqueous medium. He said, so betadine and other products have 5 to 10 ppm, parts per million of molecular iodine. He managed to stabilize it to 3,500 parts per million. So this product becomes 300 to 400 times more effective than betadine.
Okay.
Other big problem of iodine has been that the color. People hate from our childhood. We remember that Lal Dawai, the tincture iodine, which used to leave a mark. So he's managed to remove the color from that solution. So and he doesn't use any alcohol. So we have got halal certified, and I think we would do a great favor to the Muslim world, because now Muslims have been avoiding using any kind of sanitizer. And let me correct NewsX reporter, we are not a hand sanitizer. We are the only product which is used to protect you completely. You protect your nostrils, you protect your mouth, you protect your hands. Every entry point of COVID is protected by this product.
I think that's a fascinating story, Anil Kejriwal. Yes, and if you could, it would be so much more helpful for our viewers as well, and would do you a lot of good as well as a product. If you could just actually show us that product, because people would be really be interested in going ahead and looking at it, then going ahead and buying it off the shelves or online, as you've gone ahead and said that it's available in Amazon. I think there's more and more word of mouth obviously is going to create a lot of demand for it. But when you're talking about, yes, going ahead and creating some amount of publicity, because if this is something which can be on your skin for 12 hours, you can go ahead and use it on your body, and that would go ahead and allow you to fight this virus. Then I think nothing better till the time the vaccine comes.
Yeah, and vaccine really will be very expensive for common man, and this is going to be great boon to the common man, because it's just 5-6 rupees would protect you for whole day, and it's not on the skin. The whole iodine goes inside the skin.
Okay.
So it also protects your good bacteria which are killed by alcohol. So the nature has good bacteria which is protects you from bad elements, but alcohol kills it. So
absolutely.
Once you've been using alcohol regularly, you are in trouble. So we have advantage of very high efficacy, and you don't have to use each time like you have to use alcohol throughout the day. You just use it once, and it protects you for the day.
I think what would be fantastic, what would be great, very beneficial over here would be if you could go ahead and get us that prototype, so that for viewers can go ahead and see it. And I'm extremely curious. So I'm assuming that everybody who's watching this telecast at this point of time would be equally curious and must be Googling it. I2Cure at this point of time.
While you're talking to the others, let me fetch a few samples and
absolutely.
Just demonstrate how it is used.
Yes, absolutely. I think that will be of good help over here to everybody who's watching. But till the time being, I'll come to Divya Lal as well, who's the founder and managing director, FlipLearn Education Private Limited. Divya, there must be a lot of challenges that you must have faced at this point of time. I'm assuming this is a startup that you went ahead and brought about during the time of the pandemic. How many private schools have you been able to reach out to? How many more are you planning to reach out to? Have you only started it in Delhi? Are you also going ahead and looking at tier 2, tier 3 cities? What's your action plan for the next 6 months? And then I have another important question, which is how do you ensure that there is examination taking place digitally? That is going to be another big challenge in wake of whenever the vaccine comes, and then the distribution is also going to take quite a few months, if not more.
Okay, thanks Megha for series of questions. So we are about 4-5 years old as an organization.
Okay.
But yes, as far as the bringing schools to an online learning platform, that was something that we launched right at end of March when the lockdown was announced. It was not a product that existed before, but it was something we had been cooking and thinking about launching at a point. It all fell together at the same point. We've been very successful in bringing in more than 300 schools, 3 lakh children, 15,000 teachers that use our program every day. The aspiration is next 4-5 months. We're a small team that is putting everything together, a very strong tech team and a very strong set of school relationship managers and our partners who we have partnered with to take this platform to things. To tell you, the first few months we had charged for the platform as well.
Okay.
But seeing the wake of how the situation developed, we've made it absolutely free of cost for any school in the country to adopt.
Yes, you mentioned that.
With curated content for teachers to use and ensure the learning never stops in this country.
Okay.
And I think next 6 months we are absolutely looking at taking this to another couple of thousand schools. That is an internal aspiration. Maybe hit 1,000 by March, and that is where we will map how we want to go forward with it.
Okay.
And as far as exams are concerned, I'm happy to tell you that even today, we conduct regular weekly tests, monthly tests, quarter exams for all the schools, whether it is objective or subjective. We don't have much of proctoring, and we've not looked at 10th, 11th, 12th exams more because I think the guiding bodies are going to come across as how they want to do it. But the rest of the school on how teachers really want to assess, understand what is the learning gaps, etc. The platform is very capable to do that. What is very interesting is that the biggest users are coming not from the metros, but from the tier B, tier C towns. So I have schools across, whether it is, you're going to Mallapurams in Kerala to Ambala to, all kinds of tier B, tier C towns actually stepping up in a very, very big way. Okay,
Right.
and doing learning every day.
Absolutely.
I mean, 5,000,
I think those
10,000 kids
those
from school groups coming in and getting Monday weekly tests done on a regular basis as a routine.
absolutely, and that must those are encouraging signs, because people
Yes.
from tier 2 tier cities, that is going to give you all the momentum that you would require and
Yes.
all the energy you would require to go ahead and further formalize and build it into a much stronger model for the years to come. And this is a precedent that has been set. But and then let's, we have a diverse group over here. We have somebody who is also in food, the food industry, and Griffith, I've heard your story until now. Take us through how you are going ahead. Like you said, you've already said the condiments and the spices and the sauces market has seen an uptick. It's an upsurge over there. How do you go ahead and fight the challenge of having your other products? First of all, talk to us about the other products that you go ahead and manufacture and market under Habanero Foods, and how do you go ahead and circumvent this challenge to promote those as well?
Right. So at Habanero, we manufacture sauces and condiments, as you rightly mentioned. Mm-hmm. And our value proposition has been to provide an import quality product at Indian prices with ingredients that are only Indian ingredients, right? So you can get the best ingredients, your tomatoes, your chilies, your onions, the best in the world exists in India. And so you don't have to charge crazy prices like what you pay for a pasta sauce coming from Italy or a hot sauce coming from the US. It's all available here, and that's our value proposition. Mm-hmm. And as I mentioned earlier, COVID has helped people discover Indian brands like us, and this not just exists in the food category. You'll see this in a lot of different categories where Indian brands are stepping up to global level quality and providing a run for the money for imports, and that's happening across in many categories. When I see it's a wonderful, exciting thing that I see. Whether you take chocolates, you take wines, you take all these things, cheeses, you see a lot of this happening. Mm-hmm. So for us, there's been traction from across the country. We see, as Divya mentioned earlier, there's a lot of traction from tier 2 cities, okay. Places like Imphal, Ahmedabad, Kochi, people logging on through e-commerce platforms and buying things that they couldn't access before, that was not available in the retail stores. Now they're doing it. So we're starting to have distributors come up to us, inquiries coming in from around the country, and we are opening up distribution across tier 1 and tier 2 cities. So it's an exciting time to be in this particular space. And the interesting thing is, once somebody discovers an e-commerce platform or a direct-to-consumer channel, and they realize how convenient it is, they don't, it becomes a habit, right? You click, you buy a product and it shows up in your home in a couple of days. It's fairly convenient, and you can get all kinds of stuff. You're not limited by where you are anymore.
So are you are you also selling your products primarily on e-commerce, and which are those platforms that consumers can go ahead and prospective consumers can? So
we are on our own website, habanero.in. We are on Amazon, we're on Big Basket, we're on Flipkart, and we're on retail stores across Bangalore, Chennai, Hyderabad, Goa, Pune, and we'll soon be in the Mumbai market as well. So you will find this in more retail stores now under the Habanero brand.
Okay, so that's quite the brand width, yes.
I just want to ask all our panelists two fundamental questions. One, all of us in the last 8 months have had it on new attributes, new ways of thinking, new ways of being. So what are your top lockdown lessons as entrepreneurs? What has changed in your mental makeup as an entrepreneur? And hopefully for the positive, something that will hold you in good stead throughout your life. Let me start with Jay Sogani. Jay, what are your top lockdown lessons?
One is the flexible. You need to be absolutely flexible in your approach. Every day, times are changing, things is changing. You have to change course of your action, the plan, every single day. That's what it is. So for example, when we were in the lockdown first phase, we realized that we had a lot of difficulty in coordinating the work between ourselves and the client. So we started developing our own internal software. That we built it in like 3 days, 4 days, and then that we further kept on building over the period of next 2 months. That we shared with our clients, where the work was easily moving through this software to our team and going back to the client. So that's one example of it.
So agility. You're saying
Yes.
agility, being
Yes.
able to take
Yes.
fast decisions, possibly you're taking more decisions on a daily basis.
Much
than
more,
you ever
yes,
did.
than we were doing any time before.
Okay, and I'm sorry, I'll have to again interrupt. I'll have to take a mid-break over here. We'll ask for the lockdown lessons that every single of our guests has gone ahead and learned. And Mr. Kejriwal, we're going to come back to you for that demonstration that is being eagerly awaited, because that project that's made me curious, and that's made millions are watching us at this point of time. I'll take a short break, come right back. Lockdown lessons and the very important I2Cure demonstration that is much better than your alcohol-infused sanitizer, as has been claimed by Mr. Kejriwal, the founder himself. Okay, welcome back. We're talking about lockdown lessons from the leaders, from the entrepreneurial industry themselves. And before we go ahead and take the round of that with Dr. Batra, I'll also quickly reintroduce Mr. Kejriwal. And sir, your lockdown lessons, and while you go ahead and also showcase your demonstration of I2Cure, and how does it actually work? And what exactly does it entail to go ahead and, how do you go and buy it as well? So if you could just showcase to us the product itself, how do you use it, how do you apply it, what are the benefits of it versus other products that are available in the market?
So should I start now?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Kejriwal,
Okay.
please go ahead.
Yeah.
Our viewers
So
can see
thi-
the product and see the demonstration.
So this is how the product comes, and you can see that it is called COVID Defense, and the active ingredient is made in USA. The molecular iodine is airflown from US here, and blended with glycerine, and there's nothing else except molecular iodine and glycerine.
And how do so you
There's no
put it in your nostril? Mr. Kejriwal, to be fair to you, you did send it to me, and they removed the packet in which it came, and I had the thing, it's lying on my table for the last 20 odd days, and I didn't know it was a lifesaver. So clearly I have it.
See, I'll just show you how it works. So you take 2 drops on your palm. This is the bottle, how it looks. Then take a Q-tip, wrap it around, stuff it on your nostrils. Has no harm because it's molecular iodine and glycerine, nothing else. No synthetic product, no steroids, like everything else, and no alcohol.
Okay.
So you put it around both these. Then from the other side, you take it and wrap it around your lips. This is glycerine.
Okay.
So it's going to keep you soft and smooth, not burn your skin like alcohol does. And then rest of it, you just rub it on your hands. And you are done for a whole day.
Okay.
Before you leave home, do this, and 100% you are secure. There's nobody.
I mean, you did send this to me a
don't-
couple of weeks back, but it was lying on my table.
Yeah.
I didn't know who sent it to me, why he sent it to me, and I thought it is a mosquito repellent or something. Delhi, you think more of mosquitoes even in COVID time, but clearly I'm going to use this, and I'm glad you come up with a product that really helps people. But Mr. Kejriwal, what are your top lockdown lessons? You built multiple companies before, very successfully, had successful exits from companies. What are your top lockdown lessons?
If you're talking about recovery or
No, I'm talking as an entrepreneur. What is your advice to other entrepreneurs? What have you
you
changed?
see, I think the biggest problem of this COVID lockdown is more than harm it has done. It is also people are misusing it as an excuse not to pay and cheat people. That there has to be some way to control this because even the companies have money, they find excuse not to pay. So that is one area which has to be looked very carefully. Number 2, I think one of the prime movers of any economy is the real estate. And what is happening is all the state governments want to jack up the circle rates to get more stamp duty. And the income tax department decides that is the correct price. But actually the prices in the market are several % lower than the circle rates. So transactions are not happening, and people are shying away from buying properties because you have to. Income tax will get after you if you buy lower than circle rate, and so there has to be. The government try to reduce it to 20% below circle rate, and they have to come out with wholehearted support, not like भिखारी को भीख दे रहे वैसा attitude नहीं रखना पड़ेगा. The government has to become warm-hearted, let everybody come into action and help the country. If government thinks everybody is still thief, that gets very difficult. That making people realize that they have to come and help. That should be the attitude. But government.
But if I were
not
contrarian, the government has been in play. The government is doing everything right from the. If I take the simple provision of making sure that food packets are delivered to families which are, so to say, middle belly of India or bottom of the pyramid. There have been no food riots. There have been no civil unrest. And yes, there has been inconvenience of many forms because as a government also policymakers were dealing with something which is genuinely unprecedented. Also on the economy side, the government has been able to bring in what you call immediate measures to be able to provide liquidity, bring in reforms that will create long-term value. And dare I say, take actions like banning Chinese app, which created opportunities for Indian entrepreneurs. So, and I would say on our show, on Mega and my show, there have been entrepreneurs who benefited directly from the schemes that the government has announced in the last 6 months.
Yeah.
So clearly, I agree that more can be done, and we need to be able to recognize that we need to contribute to the economy, but we need to keep our past commitments to every stakeholder that we engage with. But Mr. Kejriwal, my question to you again is different. As an entrepreneur, what are the new lessons you've learned? What are the, for example, I've learned I can live without traveling. I mean, I used to travel 4 days a week. I don't feel like traveling. I've learned that less is more. I've learned never say never. I've learned, focus can do magic. I've learned that, every problem is an opportunity in a real way. I've learned whenever there is rain, look for rainbows. Whenever it is dark, look for stars. And, these are not cliches. I really feel that. I've learned to be grateful for what I have while I aspire to do a lot more. So, and for example, entrepreneurs have learned their costs have to be lesser than their revenues. GMVs and valuations are okay to be called a unicorn is okay, but to be sold next day to a large player is not okay. So clearly profitability and being Marwari in business matters. So tell us, what are your lockdown lessons, Mr. Kejriwal?
My biggest issue is that all this distance education, distance learning, the major issue which is going to come out of all this is, people will no more be very social. They will. I tell you, in my IIT days, we used to always say that we learn more outside the class than inside the class.
At the KL Sharma canteen, possibly you made more friends and learned more at KL Sharma.
Yeah,
possibly.
No, I'm IIT Kanpur.
So you're from IIT Kanpur, but I'm saying, let's say in an IIT Delhi. Yeah, I agree. The real life learning happens on campuses, and there are life skills that you acquire, the relationships you build. I agree with you.
So, mankind is a social animal, and if that is taken away, I don't know how these children will behave in future. Because I always tell them that interaction with people, you learn much more than in the class. So if that is taken away, they'll become loners. These kids will be loners. They won't know how to behave with another friends. Mm-hmm. So I think that this is one very important. In the office, everybody.
So you are saying what I've been saying on the show, that as the value of digital goes up, as virtual goes up, the value of human interaction grows up. The heart grows fonder for human interaction even more. There is a premium to a physical face-to-face
absolutely.
interaction, whether it's in education or in any other form. Let me go to Shreyans and Griffith and ask them about their top lockdown lesson before I come to Divya Lal. Shreyans, what are your top lockdown lessons? You're the youngest on the show and part of a generation of millennials and young adults who were born in the digital economy.
Yeah, COVID has been definitely a very challenging experience, but more than that, has been a learning and introspection experience. So like I've really realized the importance of branding, customer satisfaction, customer service. Even despite the pandemic, people are actually reaching out to us, and they're interested in a lot of different items because of the trust they have in our brand. So I think that goes a long way for in most industries. You have that trust, you have that brand recognition. People will always continue to buy goods from you. The other thing which I've really learned in this period is the value of an effective teamwork. I think teamwork is so essential for success for any company. And I think through this lockdown, we really capitalize on all of these strengths that we have.
Thank you. Griffith, your top lockdown lessons?
Anurag, besides the usual lessons that you mentioned about the corporate learnings, cutting costs, bloated costs, pivoting and all that kind of stuff, which I think a lot of people talked about, the biggest learning for me has been the impact of fear in our lives and what it does, irrational fear, right? I mean, we saw economies around the world shut down, almost like a knee-jerk reaction. It was fear that gripped a lot of us. We did not know, to be fair to most people, none of us knew what was happening. We did not understand the impact of COVID, and a lot of us got paralyzed, and a lot of us moved on. And I think, looking fear in the eye, not letting emotions dictate your decisions, being logical, looking at the numbers, and realizing that, look, this is there are opportunities here because this is going to pass very soon. This is not that serious a virus. I mean, it's highly infectious, but fatality rates are quite low. So you've got to, keep that focus and chug ahead. And that's been my biggest learning. And
You're so right. You're so right that, sometimes the fear factor is so huge that it helps, it
Paralyzes.
prevents us from, kind of achieving our real potential. And they keep, एक picture थी मैंने देखी थी, मुझे picture का नाम याद नहीं है, कि थप्पड़ का डर थप्पड़ से ज़्यादा होता है, तो वो थप्पड़ का डर है, वो थप्पड़ लगने का
you have nothing to fear but fear itself.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
Yes.
Divya Lal, what are your top lockdown lessons?
I think one, always believe in your people. I think you back your people, and irrespective of how our teams work, 200 days, even today, if my tech teams don't come to office, they've all operated and synced up,
So work
working
with
from
trust.
home. Work with trust and back your people. They will make the magic happen. You just have to trust, empower, set a process. It will help you all put things together. You don't have to be paranoid to be sitting on everybody's face. One. Second, I would like to call it customer obsession, if I may say. Understand who you are working for, what's the pain, ensure the solution of the product is need in words. If you can work through those 2-3 parameters, not just forcing that you made something so use it, but where is the pain really that you're trying to put, and if you can keep doing that by obsessing on your customer, I think that can really move mountains for you.
Thank you. And I would like to quickly ask all of you, and I want a very short answer, and if you want to qualify even shorter,
Extremely
when do you
short,
think the
yes.
Indian economy will be back in its full bloom? 6 months, 12 months, or 18 months? Let me start with Griffith this time. Griffith, when do you see the economy coming back in full bloom?
I think Q1 next year, Anurag, we're already starting to see green shoots. My restaurant in the airport is already at 50 to 60% of the numbers that we used to see before. So travel is happening, and that's usually a leading indicator of what happens to the rest of the economy. So I think Q1 we'll start seeing some real traction, and then onwards after that, I think the Indian consumer is very resilient. I think the economy is going to bounce.
Shreyans Gandhi?
I think the economy will pick up pace in about 6 months, and in 1 year we'll be fully recovered and back to better levels than even pre-COVID.
Okay, Jay Sogani?
I would have said at least 2 to 3 years, but after looking at Mr. Kejriwal's product, I think in another 10 to 12 months.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Divya Lal?
I think 8 to 10 months, I think we should be back.
And finally, Mr. Kejriwal, when do you think the Indian economy will be back in full bloom?
It's already back in full bloom. It's just the fear. They have to just get out of fear. There's nothing wrong. More than 5 million
certain
people.
sectors like travel, hospitality, QSR.
You just said that.
Has suffered.
No,
Anurag, he has a solution for it already, for travel and all that.
But Anurag, that's true. I'm back to my 4 days travel a week.
And,
I've been traveling.
You're definitely brave.
I think we have a courageous bunch of entrepreneurs over here. There's no doubt of courage over here.
soon get it on all the airlines are signing up with us to give it to the
That's great.
passengers.
Yeah,
And all the mosques in the world are signing up with us.
Thank you, Mr. Kejriwal. You've shown that necessity is the mother of invention. These times can lead to innovation, and simple solutions can solve big problems. On this note, back to Megha for wrapping up the show.
Thank you, Dr. Bajwa. I'll once again kudos to all the entrepreneurs who are sitting with me at this point of time. Shreyas Gandhi, Executive Director, Gazda Jewels and Work of Art. Griffith David, founder of Habanero Foods. His foods are available on his website as well as on all the retail chains when it comes to physical retail chains, also on e-commerce sites, be it Amazon, Big Basket, many other of them. Divya Lal, Fliplan Education Private Limited, doing some stupendous work over there in terms of e-learning. Anil Kejriwal, Global Chairman, I2Cure. I think it's, if that product really works, that it's going to go ahead and bring a complete transformation into how we are going ahead and fighting the pandemic in our country and across the world at this point of time. Jai Sugani, finally, Janus Concepts. And Dr. Anurag Bajwa, thank you once again for curating this unique bunch, a very hardworking bunch, a very innovative bunch of entrepreneurs, and showcasing for us the way ahead as we go ahead and circumvent this pandemic and this economic slowdown. On that note, I will slip into a short break.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.